I'm State Representative Monroe Nichols and candidate to be your next mayor here in Tulsa. A child's outcome is far too dependent on their zip code and family income. Getting better outcomes is critical to our long-term viability as a city, and we will meet this obligation to Tulsa kids. I'm running for mayor because I believe an excellent education system is the very foundation of a healthy and thriving city. Sitting next to school leaders to understand what's working, invest in high-impact strategies, and hold ourselves accountable for better outcomes. I will stand alongside our district leaders against outside threats to local control of our schools. Every day as mayor, I'll be working to build a city where young people can thrive from the day they're born to the day they start their career.
What's going on, Tulsa? I am hyped to be with you tonight. I get excited when voting is around the corner, and for you all, early voting begins very, very soon. And I hope, like myself, you all are out there supporting Monroe Nichols. Tonight is especially an amazing night because we've got the Democratic Convention, which is in full effect. We've got early voting that is starting coming up here very soon in Tulsa. And then we also have the election August 27th. And so tonight, you're not just going to hear from myself. You're going to hear from folks live from the DNC. You're going to hear from Monroe supporters across the political spectrum, across the city of Tulsa. And it's because we're excited. We're excited about the potential. We're excited about the future, as Monroe would tell you. And we're excited about where this campaign is going and where it will go. But we're also doing it because we want you to get excited. And we want you to know that democracy is not a spectator sport. That if we're going to cross that finish line, that we've got to work and do everything we can in the few days we have left leading up to Election Day. Listen, you know why this is so important to me. I ran myself in 2020 as a candidate who wanted to stand up for folks who maybe didn't have the voice that they needed to secure the future that they wanted. I was not able to get it done. But if you were a part of that campaign, you know that we built something special. And what an honor then to see 4 years later, my mentor step in to his promise and meet the moment like Representative Monroe Nichols has done, to tell his message to the citizens of Tulsa and to see the energy that he is galvanizing, to see the hope that his message is bringing. It's an amazing experience to be able to watch it. And so tonight I'm excited because you're going to get to hear from him. You're going to get to hear from his supporters. We're going to talk about the importance of early voting and the importance of this election. To do that, I want to start actually by bringing on one of my favorite advocates, one of my favorite Democrats and folks who's deeply invested in the DNC, but also in early voting in Tulsa. Welcome, Nate Morris. Nate, before I ask you about who you're supporting in this upcoming Tulsa mayor's election, I want to ask you what your thoughts are on the DNC so far.
Well, Greg, first of all, man, it's like I miss doing these things with you. It's so good to see you again. It's been too long, man. I think that we have gone in a whirlwind fashion in like 4 weeks, right? From being in this space of like despair almost to being in a place of we really, like you said, have a sense of hope and joy and optimism again. And it's not just this false sense. It is this, we have something to vote for. We have something that we can fight in favor of instead of just against something. I think that's something that has been so clear and so real over the last couple of nights. And I think it's so clear and so real in this election too. And it's so exciting to just kind of be a part of this moment. And I got to say, Greg, to be a part of something that you put yourself out there and put yourself on the line to so clearly build 4 years ago and help us get to this space where we know what it feels like to vote for something. So appreciate you for just being you, man.
Thank you, Nate. And help me bring in our mayoral candidate this year, Monroe Nichols. I know you've got to jump off, but before you go, just why are you supporting Monroe Nichols? And as you answer that, as someone who works so hard to get people out to vote, what do you say to folks out there who say, yes, I support them, and that, that's all I can do?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things, right? So hope is amazing. And as DeRay McKesson says, hope is work, right? So if we're going to be hopeful for something, we have to work to bring that hope to fruition. So if that is door knocking, making phone calls, et cetera, there are folks who are doing incredible work on the ground to get Monroe elected, right? The bare bones that we can do right now, you have early voting that starts tomorrow and goes through Saturday, or you can vote on Tuesday, right? So make that plan. Go and find out where your polling place is if you're going to vote on Tuesday, or figure out what time you can go and vote early and put that on your calendar and make a plan to go vote. I am voting for Monroe Nichols. It's so easy. It's so simple. It's a no-brainer for me because there is one person in this race who has a plan to end homelessness in our city, who has a plan to fight for our kids, who has a plan to make our city safer and stronger and economically advance opportunity for everybody. And there's only one person in this race who has actually done the work of fighting for people and fighting against those who are trying to block progress. So I'm so excited to support Monroe, and it's an easy choice. And I encourage everybody to make that plan and go vote.
I hear what you're saying, Nate. It sounds good. I want to bring the candidate on here.
Yeah.
I want to bring Monroe on. Nate, you take care. Thanks so much. Mr. Nichols, Representative Monroe Nichols. Listen, I had to bring one of my good friends on to try to convince the people. He said a lot of good things about you, but here we go in prime time. Monroe Nichols, a day before early vote starts, people can decide to vote for you tomorrow.
That's right.
What is your message right now to those Tulsans who are still maybe on the fence about who they're going to put their vote behind in early voting and on election day?
Man, thank you, Greg. And I want to say thank you to the Black Wall Street Times for hosting this and for their endorsement today. It means so much to me. It really does. You always get into these races, and what gives you the confidence to run, what gives you the confidence to represent people, is the confidence that people who you respect have in you. And so this is the story of us, is what I say all the time. And so my pitch to everybody, Nate mentioned the things we've talked about in this campaign. We've talked about homelessness. We've talked about improving student outcomes. We've talked about expanding economic opportunity and making this the safest big city in the country. And what I want people to remember is all those things are on the ballot. It's not just names on the ballot of individuals. Those issues are on the ballot. And what's in front of us right now is not simply a bunch of challenges, but a bunch of decisions that we have to make. And I think everybody knows with the plans that we put out there that we're ready to make the decisions that are going to move Tulsa forward. And we're going to do it on the strength of the groundwork that's been laid 4 years ago. We're going to do it on the strength of those who came before us. And we're going to make sure that we hand something off to the next generation much better than what we found. And that's what this race is about. Everywhere from the White House, with I'm going to go ahead and claim it, President Harris, all the way down to the mayor's office. 2024 is a history-making year, but that's only step one in the work that we got to do. It's a history-making year because we got to get on about the business of building a country, building a state, and in this context, building a city that works for every single person that lives in it. Tomorrow's early voting. It is our time now. Nobody makes these decisions for us. We make these decisions ourselves, and people have to remember this. These races don't just go to a favorite. These races just don't go to who people think. That's why you have election day. We have to take it in our own hands. I think we will, and I'm so excited, Greg, to work on behalf of people in this community.
I'm hyped. I know that this is the crunch time. I know we don't have too much time with you, so I want to reiterate a couple of things. First of all, it wasn't just the Black Wall Street Times that endorsed. Right. They absolutely did. But also, Representative Nichols, I can't let you go without saying this, to get the endorsement of the Tulsa World, a paper that is really the source for so long, right, of the news here, but also has a history, frankly, that has been disappointing in terms of the African-American experience. Now on the cusp of what should be history in Tulsa, for you to earn that endorsement, I think it says so much about the way that you have brought this message forward, the career that you have had, the experience that you've had, and the clarity really with which you speak. I think it says a tremendous amount about the confidence, not just that people like myself have in you who've known you forever, but people who hear what you're trying to bring towards Tulsa have as well. So I know you've got to run.
Well, Greg, this is what I'll say. This is what I say to close on that. I am very proud to have the Tulsa World endorsement. I really am. And what I think that meant was that everybody is starting to see the ground is shaking underneath us, that it's time to do things a little bit different, that the status quo doesn't work. Even a paper that oftentimes kind of represents the establishment and news says, no, it is time to turn the page and move forward. But it's not just that, right? We've worked, and I say we, I mean all of us have worked all this time. And the people who know how to do the job, people like Kathy Taylor, people like Brad Henry, people like Governor Walters, they've endorsed the campaign. Yeah. The hardworking folks who work every day to make sure there's economic equity across this community, folks like IBEW and the Southwest Labor Council, folks who looked at the education plan like Stacey Woolley and Susan Lampkin and John Croissant and Chris McNeil on the school board and the American Federation of Teachers, Calvin Moniz, all the people who are counting on the mayor to be the kind of partner that's going to move this community forward, they've endorsed this campaign. Right. They've endorsed this campaign because we have talked about people. We've talked about putting people in this community at the center. And what I know is true, if we do that, Tulsa's about to go win the next decade. And it ain't going to be close. And I'm excited about that. I'm so proud to have the support that we've had to this point. But we got to go close the deal, baby. We got to go close the deal. And if we close the deal, like I said, we get on about the work that we know we got to do, the work that we started a long time ago, and the work that we're going to continue to build on. And I'm so excited to hopefully serve this community as mayor. We've worked hard for 13 months. We're ready to work hard for another 4 years to get it done.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to claim it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Representative Nichols, the next mayor of Tulsa. And he spoke about one of those early endorsements. I thought I was the first one to endorse, but honestly, I have to give it to this next person that we're going to hear from, the former mayor of Tulsa, Kathy Taylor, a long time supporter of Representative Nichols, and she has a message for us.
Hello, Tulsa. My name is Kathy Taylor, and for 4 years, I had the honor of serving as your mayor. Together, we brought new opportunities to our city, and we laid the groundwork for progress that has propelled Tulsa into the national spotlight. During my time in office, we completed Vision 2025 projects, we improved our city's infrastructure, we brought energy into downtown, and we protected our economy during the national economic crisis. And we proved our resilience in the face of adversity time and time again. But we were able to do all of those things because you showed up on Election Day in record numbers to make your voices heard at the polls. Now it's time to do it again and elect Monroe Nichols as our next mayor. Now, since day one of this campaign, I have been squarely in Monroe's corner. And it's not just because we have similar policy beliefs or we are of the same political party. It's because I know Monroe. I've seen him work to make this city better every single day. And I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that with Monroe Nichols in office, Tulsa's best days are ahead of us. Look, let's face it, this is a difficult time for our state. We have people in elected office who are trying to move us backwards. Sometimes, I know for me, it can feel hopeless. It can feel easier just to look away, put your head down, and ignore what's happening. But we can't do that. We can't turn away now. Not when our public schools are under attack. Not when our fellow Tulsans are going hungry, homeless, and have no access to health care. Not when our neighbors face hateful rhetoric and policies from their elected leaders because of who they are, who they love, where they were born, or what they believe. We can't turn away. We have to show up, and we have to elect a leader like Monroe Nichols, who also shows up every day and fights for each and every one of us. So tonight, I need you to make a plan to vote. You can vote early tomorrow, Thursday, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Tulsa County Election Board, 555 North Denver. You can vote Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Tulsa County Election Board. You can vote Saturday at the Tulsa County Election Board from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or you can show up on Election Day, Tuesday, August 27th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your local polling precinct. You can go to okvoterportal.okelections.us to find your polling place and view a sample ballot. Then put time on your calendar now to go vote. And vote for the only candidate that has a plan to end homelessness. Vote for the only candidate with a plan to improve education. Vote for the only candidate for mayor with a proven track record of standing up and fighting for each and every one of us. Tulsa, it's time to elect Monroe Nichols for mayor. Let's go make history together.
You've heard from multiple politicians now. You've heard from a former mayor, you've heard from mayoral candidates, and you've heard from the next mayor. So what's more annoying than hearing from politicians tell you what you need to do? It's hearing from pastors tell you what you need to do. I want to bring on the next supporter here, and it's the Right Reverend Jamal Dow. This man makes all the right decisions except for the fraternity that he pledged. But we're going to put that to the side because I know that we have a shared interest tonight. Reverend Dow, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Brother Greg. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Reverend Dow, but you know, I only get excited about elections. You know me, you know how I am. I only get this hype when there's changes on the ballot and when our future is hanging in the balance. And so I know that you are a man of God, but I also know you are a man of community. And so I do wonder if you could take a few minutes to talk to us about why you feel this Tulsa mayor's election is so important and why you've made the decision that you made to support Representative Monroe Nichols.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Neil, for hosting this. First, let me say this. I am supporting Monroe because you've heard his stance, you've heard his plan, but most of all, Monroe is and will be a mayor for all people. I got to be honest with you. Many of you know that I pastor Friendship Church here in the heart of North Tulsa, and out of all the candidates, Monroe has been the only one to express interest in coming to our church and speaking with our church and sharing with our church. And so it shows that he is adamant about reaching to all people. The other candidates haven't reached out, but I've seen Monroe throughout the years do the work, put forth the effort, and he is a mayor that will do the work for everybody. And that's what we need in this season, in this time, in this city. Listen, after you left us and didn't win the last time, I got a little sad about politics here in Tulsa. But as First Lady Michelle Obama said, hope is making a comeback. And so when I saw that Monroe was running for mayor, I was energized again. And so I wanted to get behind him and share my support.
I love that. And you know, oh, sorry, I got a little echo there. You know, one of the things that Michelle also talked about was really getting out there and doing something. And I do wonder, you know, from your space as someone who, frankly, is always asking folks to take that step and to come out and do that extra bit of service. I wonder what your message is for folks who are sitting there saying, "Look, I vote every time. I'm supportive of Monroe Nichols. I just don't know if I have time to get out there and knock on a door or make a phone call." You know, I say it all the time, but I wonder if you have a message for those folks to find a little bit of extra time to take that extra step over the next couple of days.
Absolutely. We find time to do things that are important to us. And ladies and gentlemen, this election should be of the utmost importance to us. And so if it's one day that you can call, if it's one day that you can be a part of the phone bank, or if you say, I just can't do any of that, the power that we have at our fingertips right now is social media. We all have some type of influence in our social circles. And so if you can't call, if you can't knock doors, then get out on social media, share his platform, share his flyer, share this live right now. So we all have a role to play and we all have to do something.
Reverend Dyer, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming on. All right, y'all. I want to go out into the field, because I know that we always come on and tell you that you need to go knock on doors, and I don't think y'all believe us. So I'm going straight out to the field. I'm joined by a Monroe for mayor volunteer. We've got Miss Hannah Jarman. Hannah, tell me what you are doing right now.
Hey, y'all, I am out canvassing, knocking doors, and I've got a really quick message because my phone's about to die. That's what happens when you get out and knock doors. We're going to get you your map. You're going to get all the things you need to be successful. And I will say we have knocked in North Tulsa. We've knocked in South Tulsa, East and West. And there are still people less than a week before the election who do not know there is an election at all. So if we do not meet people where they're at, they're not going to know, and we're going to have votes left on the table. So we need everyone out to get out there and start knocking these doors, talking to people that you don't know. I've not had a single negative interaction out here. People are so excited to be engaged. So that's my poll. That's my call to you, call to action. And in the great words of Michelle Obama, we got to do something. So this is my call.
Hannah, but I don't have time. I got to do this. I got to do that. I know you hear it all the time. I mean, can't you do it all for me?
Yeah,
Isn't
listen.
it okay? Aren't we gonna win?
As a former educator who sees educators out there right now knocking doors after the first week of school, no excuses. You have an hour in your day. You have an hour in your day to go out and tell some people about Monroe. It is that simple. So if educators are doing it, we can all do it.
That's it, you all. Thank you, Hannah. I know you got to get back to the doors. Literally before school starts, you have educators going, picking up packets, dropping off literature, doing every little bit they can because they believe in what Monroe's bringing to the table. We know that he's had a history of being a champion for young people, a history of supporting educators, and that's the way that they're giving to this space. What are you going to do as someone who says you're behind Monroe Nichols? We've referenced the Michelle Obama video a couple of times. Listen, I want you all to see it. I don't know if you stayed up late enough to see it, but if you did not, you're about to get a portion of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Obama from last night.
As we embrace this renewed sense of hope, let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good. But remember, there are still so many people who are desperate for a different outcome, who are ready to question and criticize every move Kamala makes, who are eager to spread those lies, who don't want to vote for a woman, who will continue to prioritize building their wealth over ensuring that everyone has enough. So no matter how good we feel tonight or tomorrow or the next day, this is going to be an uphill battle. So folks, we cannot be our own worst enemies. No. See, because the minute something goes wrong, the minute a lie takes hold, folks, we cannot start wringing our hands. We cannot get a Goldilocks complex about whether everything is just right. And we cannot indulge our anxieties about whether this country will elect someone like Kamala instead of doing everything we can to get someone like Kamala elected. Kamala and Tim, they have lived amazing lives. And I am confident that they will lead with compassion, inclusion, and grace. But they are still only human. They are not perfect. And like all of us, they will make mistakes. But luckily, y'all, this is not just on them. No, this is up to us, all of us, to be the solution that we seek. It's up to all of us to be the antidote to the darkness and division. Look, I don't care how you identify politically, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above. This is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right. To stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity, for basic respect, dignity, and empathy, for the values at the very foundation of this democracy. It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain, do something. So if
Do something. You heard that. And with that, listen, I could talk about it, but I want to go to somebody who literally embodies that message, who is there from what I hear in Chicago, possibly was there last night. Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, how are you doing? Were you in the place last night?
Oh my goodness, Greg, I was in the place. I was in that number, and the energy was just on 100. I mean, the emotions, you saw the people, there were tears. I mean, people were shouting, people were crying. It was just electric. And I mean, the energy in Chicago, I mean, everybody is wanting something different. Everybody is wanting to make history. And so Michelle Obama did her thing, and then her husband, former President Barack Obama, I don't even know how he came behind Michelle, but he did too. He had the audacity, as Nate said, to hope, and hope is making a comeback. It really, really is. It truly isn't a false sense of hope. Everybody is feeling hopeful. And as my mentor, Brian Stevenson, always says, hopelessness is the enemy of justice, you all. We got to keep hope alive. I saw the Reverend Jesse Jackson. This is his hometown, Chicago, Illinois, and everybody that we've run into. I mean, everybody. They always talk about Tulsa being the heartbeat. We love Tulsa. All eyes are on Tulsa. What's happening in Tulsa? We have Tulsa's back. And what I heard, you all, is that local elections matter. Local elections matter. We know that we have a historic national election coming up, but guess what? We have a historic local election coming up right here in Tulsa. Tulsa is the microcosm, and I'm just going to tell you all that freedom is on the ballot box. Freedom to love, Greg. Freedom to learn. Freedom to make decisions for ourselves. Freedom to thrive is on the ballot box. That's the theme coming out, and so I'm so excited and honored to give the official charge from Michelle Obama to the people in Tulsa. We got to get out and do something. And so I had the honor to meet with a lot of congressmen and women. And one of those congress people from the state of Texas, out of Houston, the 9th district, the 9th congressional district. You all know that we just recently lost Sheila Jackson Lee, who was near and dear to Tulsa's heart. That was somebody who would introduce a bill for us. And now we have someone in Houston, Congressman Al Green, who has a message for us. So I just want you all to hear from the congressman from Texas.
Awesome.
Hello, Tulsa. It's time to get out and vote. We have an opportunity to elect a candidate that can make a difference. Monroe Nichols, a representative. Please vote early, get your vote in, make your plan, and vote Nichols for mayor.
You all, that was the congressman from Texas 9th district. And he said, vote early, make your plan. That's what you've been hearing throughout this entire conversation. You all, early voting starts tomorrow. There's no excuses. We've tried to remove all barriers for anybody. We don't care what party you're affiliated with. We don't care who your candidate is, but there are free rides to the polls. If you go and download the Go app, there is a code, Greg, vote TUL 24. MetroLink Tulsa will be giving rides to the polls starting tomorrow through Saturday. That code is vote TUL 24. You have to download the Go Pass app, and we're just excited because we're removing all barriers. And then there's one other person that I ran into. I'm telling you, I ran into so many people. They're excited about Tulsa. They're excited about this race. But there's a young lady that we all know. She's been to Tulsa. She came. She helped us commemorate the anniversary of Black Wall Street and the massacre. This is Brittany Cunningham, and she is the epitome of doing something. And so I just want for you all to hear from her.
Hey family, it's Brittany Packett Cunningham, your sister in the struggle. Listen up, Tulsa, y'all gotta vote this Tuesday. This is the time to finish what you started. You have raised the consciousness of the entire world and reminded us of our responsibility to Black people and Black communities, especially in Tulsa. So you owe this to yourselves. Make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday and make it happen.
You all, I'm just super pumped up. I'm getting ready to head back into the DNC. I just want to just pause for this cause. I am excited personally to endorse Monroe Nichols for mayor. I did my due diligence. I've heard the debates. He is our guy. So you all get out there from Chicago, Illinois, and do something. Thanks, Greg.
You heard it from Dr. Tiffany Crutcher. There's no excuse. I want to reiterate some of the things she said because they were critical. First of all, we obviously have early voting going August 22nd and 23rd. It's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that's at the Tulsa Election Board. Also, August 24th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, what she also said was it's about eliminating barriers, right? It's about providing access. And so MetroLink Tulsa, there is a partnership. You need to download the Go Pass app, and the code you use is VOTE-TUL24. Vote TUL 24. So whether you need that, perhaps you have a friend that may need it, you have a coworker, maybe a family member who you can't get to the polls, but they can utilize this. That is the Go Pass app, and it is Vote TUL 24. Free rides to the election board during early voting days, which starts tomorrow. Listen, I appreciate all of the energy and all of the support that you all are giving to this election, not just to Monroe Nichols, who obviously I've been a fervent supporter of from the very beginning, but to all of those Tulsans who have stepped out there and said, you know what? We want to make a difference. We want to run for office up and down the ticket. I know as someone who has spent a lot of time in national politics that there's really something sexy about the presidential race. And certainly this is a historic one and a critical one that is upon us. But if you listen to the messages of Mayor Kathy Taylor, of Pastor Jamal Dyer, of Mr. Nate Morris, of Hannah Jarman, of so many of our special guests that chimed in, of Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, all of them talked about how important Tulsa is to the nation. And so for me, I think we have an incredible, unique opportunity here where we can focus on ourselves. We can focus on the Tulsa that we want to build. And I would say the Tulsa that we've been building towards, right? I think that the great thing about where we are right now is that there's such momentum in the city. And when you think about Monroe's message, at the heart of it, it is about moving Tulsa forward. It's about having the courage to do those difficult things. It's about not admiring problems, but actually doing something about it. And it's about going at moving forward in a way where everyone is coming along with us. We can do both. We can be a prosperous city and attract business and attract tourism dollars and be a world-class city that people want to come and enjoy. And we can be the most compassionate city. We can be the city that looks out for our young people. We can be the city that looks out for those who are having a hard time. We can be a city that is committed to ending homelessness, right? Those are all things that future Mayor Nichols has put out there in terms of his priorities. And that's why I support him. If you support him, I want to leave you with the reminder that it is a horrible feeling the day after Election Day when you're sitting by yourself, no one's talking to you, and you're reading the paper, you're reading online about the results, and you think to yourself, I could have done more. No one's going to say it to you, but you know whether you had that extra hour. You know whether you could have actually went out there and helped out a little bit more. I don't want you to have that feeling. I want you to have the opposite feeling. I want you to be joyous all night where you're tired in the morning because you have helped make history. You've sweat for it. You've gone and made sure that every single voter, every single neighbor that you could touch is almost annoyed by you because you're so energized and passionate about what Tulsa can be. We've got an amazing man who is ready to meet the moment, and Monroe Nichols. Let's go out there and do our work so he can do his work. Early vote starting tomorrow. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Vote on election day, and let's win this thing. Love you, Tulsa.
I'm State Representative Monroe Nichols and candidate to be your next mayor here in Tulsa. A child's outcome is far too dependent on their zip code and family income. Getting better outcomes is critical to our long-term viability as a city, and we will meet this obligation to Tulsa kids. I'm running for mayor because I believe an excellent education system is the very foundation of a healthy and thriving city. Sitting next to school leaders to understand what's working, invest in high-impact strategies, and hold ourselves accountable for better outcomes. I will stand alongside our district leaders against outside threats to local control of our schools. Every day as mayor, I'll be working to build a city where young people can thrive from the day they're born to the day they start their career.